Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Fuck. How do you start one of these sort of things?
I don't know. I guess we say hello and hi kind of
Yeah.
things.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Far. This
Uh,
is Platty.
I'm the platypus.
And today, because we're fucking masochists, I guess, we're gonna be
Yeah.
discussing a little webcomic that Platty introduced me to. Thank you
Yeah.
for that, by the way.
I'm sorry. I feel
Forever.
sorry for everyone. I had a weird fascination, and yeah.
Yeah, and no, explain the story of how you found this, okay? Just the
Uh,
basic rundown of why you even know this is a thing. Just a general idea. Like, it
I
doesn't have to be
want to
in depth.
say I was just looking for comics that were quote unquote story related to trans issues or something like that. I don't know. This was way before I even really knew what SJWism really was, but
Yeah.
this was like years ago when I started this, and I don't know. I don't know why I kept with it, and I don't know why I kept with it. How can this get worse?
This is the webcomic. It's called Rain.
Uh-huh.
Literally Rain.
That's it.
Um, yes, that's it. And it's a story for boys, girls, and everyone in between. By Jocelyn Samara. I don't am I saying that right? Jocelyn?
I have no idea. It says at the bottom of the very first thing, it says Jocelyn CD, but
I'm
I think it's Jocelyn Samara. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a certain aspect of this I want to get into slightly before the comic.
Okay.
You know what
Is it
that is.
is that the character page?
Yes.
It is the character page.
It is the fucking character page. Because I just clicked on it and I went, oh
Wait,
shit. I didn't realize that this
that's
was
that's one entire image.
yeah, it's one entire image. That's the first mistake. And I only just realized now the reason why there's so many people on it.
Why?
Cause look at the top, it says full cast.
Oh,
The problem with the Rain cast page, if you scroll down and you keep scrolling, it doesn't seem to end. It just seems to keep going until you reach the bottom and it says current list completed on June 20th, 2013. This list is subject to change as the story progresses. And also, note all information is intended to be as spoiler free as possible. If something seems to be inaccurate, it is because the description is based on the earliest information available.
okay.
It kind of implies one that's like she's supposed to be constantly updating this character list, but it's 2018 now and she hasn't done this since 2013.
Yes.
And two, it's the note of all information is intended to be as spoiler free as possible.
Hmm.
It's okay. To me that kind of reads like you've retconned some of these characters. Like you've gone earliest information available.
Oh yeah.
It's just yeah, it's just a very weird way of phrasing it. One of the characters is also now a main cast character, right?
Oh no, there's a couple.
Oh yeah, no, there's a couple of characters on here actually that are actually main cast characters, but they're still listed in classmates, or one of them is listed in other.
Yeah, all the way at the bottom of this humongous list.
She's
Listed in
listed as other,
other.
and it's like,
Okay.
yeah,
Wait,
it's just very bizarre. And
this person has this on on her website on a main tab for her thing, and pretty much gives no shits about what's on that page anymore. The issue is that people who have this SJW mentality don't seem to quite grasp what a personality is, because they're just constantly telling them about what they do, what they like, not who they are. They kind of it's just a lack of understanding of a person what makes a person's personality up. They just think it's what they like, it's what they do, kind of a thing. Not necessarily how they act, how they are, how you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Mhm. So every
Yeah.
single one of these comes from that perspective of this is what they've done, this is what they do, so that's who they are. Doesn't tell you anything about personality. And it comes up
Yeah.
with a very, it comes up with a very
It
just, ugh.
it's bland.
All right,
Let's get to the actual comic now.
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. Instead of me just going off on a character page. Okay, so this.
Like, it looks
Uh,
like a little sketch that's kind of, it's,
sketch.
it's a sketch.
The thing is though, right? The sketch itself isn't.
Bad.
She does have a sense in this anyway of basic proportion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to say it's the greatest thing in the world because I'm staring at this and I'm already seeing several issues, but there's some proportion.
That's the artist inside. Yes.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems to have an idea of how to perspective angle slightly.
Mm-hmm.
But then like you keep looking at it and there's a lot of questions I have.
Yeah.
Like the legs. Look at the legs, okay?
All right, let me look at the legs.
Are those leggings that stop partway on her calf, or are those supposed to be socks?
Question. It's definitely thinner than the, yeah, maybe. Well, without color, it's very difficult to tell.
The other issue, just to point out the shoes.
Um,
Look at the shoes. They don't really look like feet. They look like lumps that are covering her feet. The other thing though, like because I've seen ahead a lot of like what she can draw. She has a few of these sort of pages where she'll show rain. It's usually rain. It's almost never really any other character. Like in this sort of pose where you kind of like she does seem to have some sort of talent, but then you see all the other stuff that she draws and it's like, okay, so where does this come from then? Like, is this what she does when she's actually
trying.
trying?
Yes.
Yeah, like when she's actually trying or something, or like, which has led me kind of down to this kind of a conspiracy theory, I guess you could call it.
Oh.
Of I kind of have a little bit of a suspicion that she might use bases.
Which is.
Bases, if you don't know, is usually okay. People usually dig art, right? They'll make think of it like a model, and like you're doing a basic action, and people will then usually sometimes they'll say like this base is free to use, and then people will take this base, trace it, or just simply draw over it and make their own characters from it. And it's one of those things of it's a very iffy practice because on one hand it's letting people who don't really know how to do these poses be creative with it, have their characters do things that they wouldn't be able to exactly draw themselves, but on the other hand it kind of encourages them to be a bit lazy and to trace, which is not something I would really be recommending. And there is a difference between copying and tracing, by the way, like in my head anyway. Copying is just looking at the thing and drawing it to the best of your ability, while tracing is literally having the thing you want to draw underneath whatever you're doing. It's just there's a difference between copying the thing to sort of, figure out what you're doing and then tracing it. And to me, anyway, tracing just doesn't help you in the long run. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do a lot of tracing too with the digital art aspect. And
Exactly.
that's kind of. It might honestly be where she gets a lot of it from.
I have a sneaking suspicion, maybe not this one, maybe not a good chunk of the other ones, but there are definitely things in here, right, where it feels like this isn't her. This is her going out finding a base to base it off. Maybe I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong. Maybe this is just what she can do when she actually tries. Yeah, it's just based on everything else I've seen in this comic. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on to the next page.
Yeah, why don't we actually move on to the actual comic? Because that's just the title page.
That is just the title page. Oh my god, and then we have. So, you remember that one time your mom sat you down with all your siblings and she was just like, so, have you kids ever considered what you want to be when you grow up? Do you remember that conversation? I do. It was fantastic.
It was such a serious conversation, and there was so much depth to it, and we talked
it was just that pinnacle of my childhood. I hold on to that memory so fondly.
Man, I totally went forward with my ambitions to be a raptor one day.
Yes, I totally became a fairy.
Yes.
And look at me today.
So while we're making fun of this, there still is an aspect of some people do seriously have memories of wanting to be like when they were really young, wanting to be the opposite gender or something like that. So that's kind of where this is coming from. This is coming from the aspect of is like, well, if the kid says it, but that's the problem. Is that it's also implying that if the kid says it, you gotta believe them, and it's
Yeah,
if we continue on to
it's
the next page because all it is like you just laugh at the kid and move on. Next page, it's like, well, you can't do that because you'd be a girl.
yeah, you're not. Yeah, it's like you're not a girl. You can't, and you can't be a girl. And blah, blah, blah. It's like you get what she's trying to do. It's just it's very, very badly done.
It's badly done, and I think that there's another ulterior message trying to be.
Oh yeah, the ulterior message that you will see in the later chapters of this thing.
Yeah, apparently Ryan, quote unquote, is supposed to be 4 years old in this instance, and it's like it's a 4 year old, so you're trying to teach them how to be realistic and whatnot. And
I think she was more just trying to make it, that thing of like, but I want to do the thing. Like, why can't I be that? And just being upset that you can't do that. Whereas instead, it ends with her, like, with Ryan screaming basically and running off into the void.
running off into the void, and yeah.
The sock leg.
I've noticed something throughout this entire thing, how awkward the shirts hang.
Also, another thing to point out though, the author's notes.
Go, yes, yes. She's
Uh,
already saying, "Oh, I know how there's so many webcomic. I've read so many webcomics, and like, there's a point in time where it's
yes.
like this joke of the day comic comes into a serious moment. It's like you're 2 pages in, and you're already doing this. You're already talking about this. Why?
She points out Rain is both a comedy and a drama. When it comes to your webcomic, something I've learned very quickly over the years is that usually you don't have to point out the genres unless you're like trying to advertise it somewhere. I've never seen it until now. Someone say what their webcomic is
Mm,
in an author's note, 2 pages in.
yep. It is a slice of life slash comedy slash drama, and it explains it in detail. The first page.
Also, she mentions that she likes to spice it up by putting the joke in the middle of the page rather than the bottom. Can you tell me where like the joke is in the middle of that page though?
Is there supposed to be a joke there?
I don't know, but that's
There
the
hasn't been a
same
this
author's
has
note.
been serious the entire time. There's literally no joke.
And she also feels the need in this to point out exactly who the characters are, even though it should be pretty obvious at this point. You'll learn very quickly, don't look at the author's note unless you really want to get pissed off. This page, I don't have a lot to say about it, to be honest.
No, it's just kind of a big picture page and that's it. It goes into the fact of like, oh, just give him a couple days. It won't last long. I'm sure of it. Okay, first off, yes, it could be a couple days. It could be a while longer, but why are you having this
Yeah.
conversation with the little siblings that are probably not that much older?
How much older are they actually?
We can actually look. They're twins.
Yeah, they're twins. They're
Oh, that's right.
26.
They're 13 years old.
They don't look 13.
No, they look the same
They
fucking
look the
age.
same age.
Like I can tell that's a little kid because it's small and that's it.
And here is the.
Oh my gosh. I just looked
You
at this
remember?
and I'm having problems figuring out which way to go on this.
Look at the clock.
Yep.
Same with the manga.
It looks like a child drew that clock. That tree is probably pasted in. That tree is way too smooth and clear for the Oh my gosh. They're
And then you
so
look
clear.
at the final product, Rain. And it's like she can't. Look at the boobs. Chapter 1.
Oh
The
look, the
new
boobs are
girl.
different.
And so is
No
the skirt if you look at
consistency.
it.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
If you don't know how to draw a pleated skirt, don't make it a part of the official school uniform. Just don't. Hands.
Oh my god, those hands. Yeah, here we go.
This can't. Oh my god. If you can go and edit in clock numbers, and edit in a tree, and edit in the cover of your fake manga, You can edit in a box of fucking cereal.
The coffee cup too.
Yeah, the entire
It's
thing.
it's like a moldy coffee cup or a molding coffee cup. Look at the last panel. It's like yeah.
Yeah, it's just dead. It's just dying. Also, she has an author's note that says, on the table, you may notice a box of cereal. It is a box of Captain Yum, a popular breakfast choice among children and adults who refuse to grow up. It's an homage! It's an homage!
Oh.
And the famous car scene! You look at this car, and when you look at the side, it looks like they're not even in the car anymore. It looks like they're outside of the car, but still sitting on seats with the steering wheel. It's so poorly done, and yet it's like, oh my god. And it's even funnier because in the author's note that I didn't read the first time, she actually admits that she can't draw cars worth crap. She admits to lazy copy and pasting. When it's the front view, yeah, you draw the roof and all that. You draw it so it's like they're actually in something. It's not great, but it's like, you know they're in a car. But the side, however, is just so confusing. Is the car supposed to be invisible? Is that like another car next to you? Or is that supposed to be the car side?
Oh my gosh, there's so much copy pasting. You want to know what most of the copy pasting is? It's the 3 middle panels. Even the top, I think it's all.
You can't even draw it, but you still copy and paste this shitty thing. How about we actually discuss what's being said, though?
Holy text, Batman.
All it is talking about
How?
rain passing. That's all it is.
And it ends with a joke.
Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, there's lols. And then the other thing that made me really just go, what the fuck?
Oh god.
If the car scene wasn't bad enough, you look at the school, she put like a brick wall texture as part of the wall. Look at the school text. It looks like she's got the clip art thing and made it
Look at it.
match the wall. Why?
Just look at it. It's just. Oh no, the blurry.
That is what I want to point out.
It's so blurry.
Until later-ish on, I think she fixes this a little bit later. A lot of the character design, like the lineup, is super blurry to the point of where it's just how. Some of this you can see it's not as blurry. The 2 panels above it
It's
are
like
really super blurry. It's like
zoomed in photos is what it feels like.
it feels like she drew it at a certain size, but then like she wasn't satisfied with what was surrounding it, so she zoomed in and was like, yeah, that's perfect.
The pen never changes.
Yeah,
so
the brush never changes.
This is like someone went through low res and just.
Bottom 2 panels, the one on the left, it's really bad perspective. Super, super bad perspective.
I just realized how bad a perspective that is.
Imagine the background's not there, right? That's not too bad. It's the background that really ruins it. And then you look at the last panel and the perspective is still off, just not as badly. So the reason why all those people are white is because it's some bullshit symbolism that she's trying to pull, where Rain is apparently trying to pretend they're not there to make herself less conscious.
Legit, she initially meant this to be these are random folks in the background who are important and don't stand out, but she basically made all of the students potentially usable characters, then got lazy and didn't go back and recolor them.
Then also after she says that, she says, that's not bad actually for having just made that up now. I'm kind of proud of that. Clever symbolism as an excuse for laziness. Booyah.
Really?
Best way to introduce your next main character. So then I'm like, no way, man. That's not a duck.
That's cringy.
These are the 2 next main characters. And they're making comments about Rain, who's awkwardly sitting in her chair. Very awkwardly sitting and kind of looking a bit overweight.
Yes. What the fuck am I doing here?
Why am I here? But the one covered eye thing looks so hot on her. Definitely. And here's the other problem with Rain.
No. No. We wait.
We wait? You want to really wait?
Yes.
Okay. So just everyone keep in mind these comments of the new girl. And then here's the continuation of the terribly blurry art. $5 says I can talk to her first. $10 says I can get a date. You're on, bitch.
Does it? Okay, so I want to point out something here that I see. That background does not fit with these two characters. They look so cut paste. It's so obvious. I don't even think the guy looks like he's in the same drawing as.
He's actually blurrier. And then this is like the most confusing thing now. It's a confusion and a clusterfuck. So let's start with roll call, shall we? And pay attention. They're not in order since I dropped them on the way up here. How does the roll function in this school?
Like, do they just have individual papers or something?
Do they
to
have?
call people?
Yeah.
Like,
I
I don't.
mean, why would you have their names on individual sheets of paper?
Obvious shoehorn in of characters is obvious.
Present Maria here. Here. And then you have that god awful looking
Yeah, that one.
panel there. The guy recognizes her last name. So we all know where this is going. In the author's note, she feels the need to tell the story behind how she was inspired to add in Rain's squeak. And I wrote the note of this was unwanted, and I regret making myself read these author's notes. The copy paste here isn't that big a deal to me, because it's literally just showing them leaving the same classroom. First panel, it looks fine ish. It looks
Yes.
possible. But it's once she adds people into it that it looks off.
It looks like the kids are tiny.
Okay, so now can I bring it up? Now can I bring up the other problem about the
No.
thing with Rain? Look at all the attention she's getting.
Well, I know. Look at all the attention she's getting.
You want me to wait?
Yes.
Author's note admits all side characters' names don't even matter. Few of them are crucial to the story, but you never know, and may come up with a perfect role for some of these kids. All these kids, I'm pretty sure they're all on that long as fuck character list.
Oh, look. It's just a blank green background. Gavin's face just looks squished half the time.
Also, more cases of no fingers.
I remembered my best friend was Ryan. Now there's a Rain here. They might be related. Or they might be your old buddy.
Wouldn't that be just totally messed up?
No, look at the page name too. Oh, the irony.
Oh, the irony. Oh, and then this one,
Oh,
the
yay.
other, the car, the famous car scene, as I'm going to refer to it, just forever and always, the famous car scene. That's not quite the only thing that made me just so obsessed with this whole thing. It is the start of it. I will admit it is a big reason, but it's not the only reason.
Mhm.
Because after I noticed the car thing, I started sort of looking at everything else, and then the first panel of this page is what is one of the other things that really sealed it for me. Platty,
Yes.
would you like to point out to everyone what is what is happening?
There is a specific deviant art up on the screen, and I believe it is the deviant of the author of this comic.
The only reason I know it's her DeviantArt page is because she admits it's her one in the author's note.
Yes, because I don't know the meaning of shame.
Also, even though you're an art teacher and I can understand you looking for art resources, DeviantArt is one of the worst places to look for that. Okay, so the rest of this page though, just beyond that shameless display.
There's another thing to this whole thing. Is more about what this character has become in the very start of this entire thing. Would you like to explain?
I want you to explain it. I want you in your own words.
If you have ever played a Mary Sue character, there's a male counterpart, which is what, a Gary Stu. Basically, this is a character who gets all the guys and is just super popular and
Perfect.
perfect. Here's the thing. Rain here is a tranny. I don't think Mary Sue quite fits. So what we decided was that a male to female is a Mary Stu, and a female to male is gonna be a Gary Stu.
Gary Sue.
Gary Sue. It's confusing.
It's gonna be
confusing. It's a minor little thing. So Rain here is most definitely a Mary Stu.
Yes, and this is what I've been wanting to point out for several pages now, whenever this has come up, of suddenly people looking at Rain and being like, oh wow, she's hot. Wow, look at that. Look at her.
This bitch is even on hormones yet.
At this point, she's not doing any of that. She's not going to a therapist or a psych or whatever. She's not seeing a doctor. She's not taking hormones. This is all. She hasn't been diagnosed. She hasn't actually been officially diagnosed.
Nope, this is all self-diagnosis. This is all, I want to do this because I feel this is the right way. I haven't talked to anyone other than someone who would like, oh yeah, you should do whatever you want that makes you happy.
Oh, and then the text. Like I look at this and it makes me not want to read it.
Basically, it's just like confide in someone because you've gotten, I don't know.
This could really be condensed.
Yeah.
You don't need all this text. You could just say you need to maybe not stand out as much. Like, maybe you need someone by your side to help you. Maybe like make a friend and tell someone. You don't need the second speech bubble on the left. You don't need, oh really, that's the first speech bubble. That's how much these speech bubble things confuse me in
There's
this.
so much.
Because there's just so much, and you're like, I don't know where to even start.
It's like repetitive.
I love how they've got the graphics in the back of the trans flag. And I love also she has to have in the top corner there lunch. It's not obvious that with her really misshapen sandwiches and her can. It's the first tiny hint we learn about Aunt Farrah's past. And apparently it's the first ever we directly received an indication that Rain is not physically female. Or although I'm relatively certain 95% of
Excuse
you
you.
were already on board with that. Yeah, no.
I think the shower scene was well enough.
She's thinking way too highly of all this. The introduction of Maria, the flaming dyke.
I don't really have much to really talk about it.
It's more the author's note that's like
Wow.
I guess everyone has their secrets, winky face. The whole page is basically Gavin asking Rain, do you know Ryan? And then her running away because she's just like, oh my god, they figured me out. Even though it's like running is the most suspicious thing to do.
I've seen that. I've seen that pose before. I've seen that leg.
Sock leg.
Sock leg.
Looking back, I think I could have probably condensed this page and the last page into one to make things move along a little quicker, but then I'd have less time to establish foreshadowing for Maria in the last page. And Rain's fear of discovery on this page. It's already very well known at this point that Rain doesn't want to be figured out. And also the fact that you can't keep your mouth shut, that Maria is a lesbian. Then Rain just like running and thinking to herself and crashes into this guy.
The way that this to fall down with the spread open. The skirt's gonna fall down from gravity, right?
You would think so, unless like it's really like tight around her knees at the moment.
Maybe?
And then author's note,
Oh, God,
amidst to having an outline, doesn't follow it all the time. She could have bumped into like 3 other kids. She has an outline, so the crash was there. And it's good that she does at least have an outline. So there were at least 3 other candidates for this. Okay, the other 2 being miscellaneous kids from page 12.
Yep.
So realistic, she doesn't mention which miscellaneous kids they are. So in reality, it could have been more than 3 candidates because you don't know which ones. Which ones are the candidates?
The outline is like, it sounded like it would have gone in branches, but in reality, it just would have been going in. It's like, oh, it's this character, and then it comes right back to the same story.
But she opted for the obvious choice of this guy because he is one of the main characters, even though that should have been the obvious choice.
This is the fallout of the whole thing. It's kind of
Ugh, it's just so much text. Again,
it really is. It's a lot of text.
I'm quoting exactly here. To avoid confusion, I'm just going to come right out and tell you this new boy that Rain's bumped into is named Rudy. He's Maria's little brother. Normally, I'd prefer to let the story do the talking, but as I was reviewing the story before posting this, I realized that no one actually addresses him by name for another 6 pages. So rather than having comments consist of people calling him that kid or something for roughly another 2 weeks, I'll just make it easy and tell you straight out it's Rudy. If you're reviewing pages and you notice that, why don't you just edit? Isn't that why you're reviewing the pages, to make sure everything's fine? Yeah, and then more fallout. So basically all this page is just going like, so why don't we go ask her? Which is honestly the most sensible thing
Yeah.
that has been said this entire chapter.
20 pages in and you're already doing flashbacks to pages within those 20 pages. I want to point out that this entire thing is the first day. A ton of stuff happening in this first day of school. Not even the full day. We're just to lunchtime.
Yeah, this is at lunch. Fuck.
We got another half a day to go.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Also, I love the name of this page.
Junk. Oh my gosh, text.
I know. Also, Rudy's head. They're basically just saying like, no, you can't go ask her. Like for two separate reasons. Rudy's is basically like, what if the principal finds out? And then Marie's is just, it's just offensive. And it's kind of like, well, okay. Wait, so does that mean he's been walking since lunch? Because that's when he got up.
They share a homeroom together.
Also, are they home?
No, they're walking out
Or
of school.
okay, I've always been so confused by that.
We'll see. The problem is that there's no way to tell the difference because it's all one color, anyways.
Suddenly they're outside.
Blocking the path, looking angry.
Look at that power pose.
Pal pose.
Yeah, we mean trouble.
Yeah.
You tranny. I want the truth, Rain. Something is up and I want to know what it is. Rudy being like, so cool, Rain's officially my hero. It's like,
What?
why? And you learn later on why he kind of probably thinks like that. But still, it's just very odd. Like, Gavin actually gives a kind of logical response in a weird way.
No, he does.
But she tries to pass it off as it being him being an asshole.
He feels like he was lied to and kind of tricked. Try to put yourself in those shoes. Take your panties out of a bunch and try to remember that people are people. They get hurt if it's like, well, this is who I am now, or kind of a thing. Or I would say that's a logical reaction initially.
Oh my god, and all the text. Oh, shut up, you're awesome. Besides, Maria and I are both gay, so who are we to judge? Also, this is the same page where we were both surprised at the fact that she actually uses the word tranny.
Oh. It's addressed.
Yes, of course, I know that tranny is typically regarded as an offensive term, and yes, of course, I know that it's not correct to refer to tranny. Oh my god, refer to Rain. Refer to Rain as a he or him. I know that, and hopefully, most of you know that, or do now at least. It basically just goes into like her discussing Maria and Rudy are like they're not as familiar with it, they're supportive, but they're not really aware, and they don't really have the terminology down quite yet.
Speak of busy, like fucking, like you got all this text up here. She put so much text in the author notes too.
I love how she also points out that she has a drawing error. Yeah, that Rudy has no tie. Again, she was reviewing these pages. So that's how she noticed, maybe I should just say his name's Rudy in the author's notes. So wouldn't she have also, if she was reviewing them and checking them, wouldn't she have, instead of making an author's note, actually changed the fact that there's no tie?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like, it's just so baffling as well, of like, why would you point it out? If you know it's a problem. Pointing out that there's a problem there doesn't make the problem better. We're at the chapter end, thank God. The last page is literally just, don't worry about Gavin, he'll come back. Before this, she only had one good friend, and it was the guy that she hadn't seen since she was a child. So I'd like to make a special shout out to a friend of mine for stating, Gavin made Rain cry. I'm sticking with calling him Jerky McJerkface until he apologizes. I was so amused by the name, I actually changed Maria's dialogue a little in the third panel to add it into canon. Just like I told myself I wouldn't, but you know what? It actually does suit her to say that somehow. So you can go back and edit Maria's dialogue to say something that you thought was funny, but you don't bother to go back to edit in Rudy's name somewhere. You don't go back to draw in Rudy's tie. It's so bizarre what she prioritizes. This is just the first chapter. This is just the first chapter. Oh my god.
Going forward, we're not going to run around some of the issues as much in circles. We'll point out
No.
as we go. But
Oh dear god,
this
no.
is kind of
That,
the, this is kind of like the beginning of this entire shit show of a.
But yeah, that's Rain. Chapter 1. Jesus Christ. welcome to our hell. We hope you have a pleasant stay.
Uh-huh.
Bye. Until whenever the fuck we do this again. Just look at the main life forms of the ones that are revealed.
Yes.
Yeah, like what can you describe like what you think they would be like?
Oh God, why are you putting me on the spot like this? Eva looks kind of sweet with the flowers and the kind of caring stare, and Maggie here looks like very a determined, quizzical person. Odin just looks depressed, and the skill guy looks like he wants to fuck a guy.
Logical progression. The not colored in girl in the background looks like she has sideburns.
I read something on Twitter today about this 3-year-old is throwing a fit because I wouldn't let him crawl into the. He's been crying for like 10 minutes because I wouldn't let him crawl into the oven with the cornbread.
Mommy, I want to be cornbread too. Why is she still getting away with that choker?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, holy shit, it's the most lax private school I've ever seen. Usually on these cast pages though, they'll only have relevant characters. Or characters that are actually, not just one-time appearances or characters where you're not like, who the fuck is this person? Like, who the fuck is this? Then logical progression.